Which mistake did you make as a teenager is still biting you in the ass until now? Sharing needles with other people when I was 16. Spent the next 40 years with hepatitis C and did 2 unsuccessful interferon treatments that lasted a total of 22 months. Fortunately, got cured in 2015 with a 90-day treatment of Harvoni. But still, I spent a lot of effort during some very important years trying to get well. Not asking my parents for help with finding things I really enjoyed doing. I think maybe if I'd joined a chess club or something like that, I'd actually have had a lot more fun and made some friends. I was really lonely for a long time, and it wasn't easy to make up for the lack of social development during those important years. I feel this. When I finished high school I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But I didn't ask for help. I just thought it would come to me, like it did with my other friends. Later I found out they got loads of help from their parents suggesting stuff and trying stuff out. I know my mum would have definitely helped me, but I was too stupid to ask. Set me back a couple of years I reckon. But it's a valuable lesson to learn, and for sure I will keep an eye out for it with my kids, in case they inherit my stupidity. I always felt discouraged from trying stuff as a kid, because my dad complained about how much stuff costed. We weren't struggling at the time. That's just how he is. Looking back I sort of remember my mom trying to get me to try new things, but she pretty much had a mental breakdown from my sophomore year of high school until I graduated college. I'm still very socially anxious and feel like I missed out on so much growing up. I just started a job as a software developer and feel like I'm never gonna have time to make up for it. Nicotine. Smoked a pack a day for almost 15 years. Started when I was 16, 17, finally quit 100% about a year ago when my wife and I found out we were expecting. I've been really good and haven't had a single smoke, but I'm not gonna lie, at least once a day I think damn a cigarette would be good right now. I said a lot of stupid shit with my actual name as the username on social media. Thankfully I have a common name, but it will be in the back of my head for the rest of my life. I have a very uncommon name. Like the only person in the world. I said some silly stuff on Twitter in 2009. Can't take it off. I tried everything. I just can't remember the password. I even have a file of all the possible passwords I've attempted, around 100, and I can't crack it. I don't have access to the email. It wasn't global and the account is gone. I tried contacting Twitter and they can't do anything. I just don't get why the profile is up when I literally posted the tweet in 2009. The tweet isn't even bad. It's a silly expletive phrase. But I'm applying to medical school next year and just want it removed. Edit: if anyone from Twitter sees this, just please ducking help me. For the love of God, I just want my account from 12 years ago removed. I'm literally the only person on the planet with my name. It's not so much of an issue now, but it really bit me in the ass when I tried to make it on my own. I was incredibly lazy and unambitious. I didn't have any job experience, any extracurricular activities, no hobbies, no clubs. I had nothing going for me. It's pretty hard to get hired based on nothing but your own assurance that you'll do a good job. I told one of my friends I like a weird candy only found in her mom's home country. I said this, we were 13, and everyone else said it tasted like feet. It does taste like feet, but she started cry, so I said I liked it, and now her mom sends me a box of it every few months and I have to sit there pretending to enjoy the candy when I Skype my friend and thank her and her mom for the gift. I have started rolling the candy in cinnamon before the video chats, and that mostly hides the taste, but it would really hurt a good friend of mine if I told her the truth even now, so I eat a box of candy that tastes like feet sometimes to spare the feeling of a good friend. I started smoking. I want to go back and shake 15-year-old me who thought buying cigarettes with my lunch money would cause weight loss. I'm 50 now and quit smoking when I was in my mid-40s. But the damage done to my lungs and heart is permanent. I got a fitness watch 3 years after I quit, and it says that my fitness age, based on VO2 and exercise tolerance, is still that of a 70-year-old, even though I exercise every day. Edited to add, For those struggling to quit, feel free to skip everything below if you're not a smoker. For me, what worked was forcing myself to smoke mindfully. I decided that what I was going to do is really pay attention while having a cigarette. Instead smoking while doing something else, even something as simple as having a conversation. When you force yourself to really concentrate hard on all aspects of smoking while you are doing it, how it makes your body feel, how your heart races, the taste it leaves in your mouth, the smell it leaves on your fingers and your clothes, how disgusting that ashtray looks and smells, it doesn't take long for you to become aware of how gross smoking actually is. And then you can call that to mind when you're struggling with cravings. Also, nicotine cravings rarely last more than a minute, they keep coming back at first. So it might literally be 1 minute on, 1 minute off. But if you force yourself to focus on how gross a cigarette actually is instead of I need nicotine, those minutes are a lot easier to endure. And over time they decrease greatly in frequency. If you want this idea hammered home in book form, try The Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Kerr. But when I say hammered home, I mean it. It's really as simple as what I said above. I was a 2-pack a day smoker for 30 years and believed with all my heart until the last 6 months that I loved smoking. If I can quit, anyone can. Not learning to drive. My parents didn't want to pay the fee for the class my school offered and said they'd just teach me. They never did. Now I can't afford classes as an adult. Assuming you're from the US, it's fairly easy to just practice. If you have somebody's automobile, you can drive around in parking lots and side streets, etc. I never paid for any classes. I went and got my license when I turned 18 without doing much besides the final exam they make you take. The actual test to get your license is laughably easy and makes it almost impossible to fail. Punching a wall. Hit the stud. The fracture in my hand didn't properly heal, as well as losing the use of 2 of my tendons, which makes opening my hand a nuisance. As you could imagine, it was my dominant hand. My life isn't heck from it, but boy, if I could go back in time to my teenage years, that's when I'd go. Please, please, please. If you ever feel like you need to hit something for whatever reason, please hit something soft and not living, like a pillow. Your delicate hands will thank you down the road. Never telling the girls that I liked them. Years later, 3 different ones told me I liked you when we were in middle school, high school. I never had the confidence to let them know, and I think about it every now and then. I think you have to forgive your younger self for things like that though. When I was in first year of secondary school, English guy here, so I don't know what grade that is. Whenever 11 or 12 you are, I admitted that I liked this girl on a school trip, and it got spread around the entire year. By the time I got to school on Monday, the guy who I told turned out to be a horrific human being. Looking back, it probably wasn't, but it felt like I was the ducking talk of the school, and people realized it got to me if they joked about it. Long story short, I was so traumatized I never asked a girl out or anything again. Add that together with 14-year angst and insecurity, and I can't really blame myself for not asking out people, even if I feel bad if I found out that they liked me back then. Yeah, I'd rather look back and realize I was less aggressive forward with women than I could have been than look back and realize I was too aggressive. I had good female friendships that I relied on to get through my time in school, and I probably would have ruined many of them if I tried too hard. Even if short term I would have been able to succeed. So in my opinion, it's hard to really know. I didn't make much of an effort to apply to colleges. It was a last minute decision. I think that if I had applied myself, I could have gotten into a really good college with some financial assistance. But instead I coasted and chose the local commuter school. I did well there and afterwards. But I still think about what life would be like if I had really worked for it in high school. Edit: I don't really care to hear people's opinions on going to college versus not. The main idea here is to put in some effort, do your research, and have a plan. I chose a school on a whim because it was the only one still accepting applications, and that is never a good idea. Not knowing how to communicate with girls. Having no mom and no sisters left me without any reference. I was not shy, simply didn't know what the heck I should talk with girls about in conversations. Later I discovered I should just go about them as any other human being. I wasted good years trying to imitate what I thought I could learn from popular culture about the opposite gender. Later I discovered I should just go about them as any other human being. Something a huge amount of guys have never learned. Turns out women are people. Despite what some guys will tell you. I met a friend's friend a few weeks ago, and he spent the entire time insisting that women were terrifying and that's why he respected them so much. And he's never expect any woman ever to want to talk to him because they are all above him. And I was like, we don't like being put on a pedestal as much as we don't like being put down. You're being unlikable by telling women all of this stuff and creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. We aren't any scarier than your guy friends. And he didn't believe me. Abandoned my goals plans for a boy who was a loser then and is still a loser now. Left him about 3 years ago after 4 years together. I'm finally back on track. But at 24, I'm just now getting to the point I would have been at 18 years old. Had I not abandoned my goals to be homeless with a drug addict. I don't regret it necessarily, but man has it taken me a long time to get myself back. Got a credit card at 18 with no experience in managing money. That was fun. But it was definitely not fun for a lot longer. Haha. An old co-worker of mine was applying for a Discover card on our break about a year ago. She got accepted and all that shit. Her first reaction was I got $5,000. And that was when she had about 4 people forcing basic credit finance info down her throat. Bless her heart. I hope she didn't spend all of it. To be 19 again. This happened when I was in 3rd grade. And I'm not proud of it. So this girl whom I liked very much, which isn't easy to tell, told a boy to tell me that I was a refugee. Well, I told him to her she must looking in the mirror. I can't remember what she said after this. But I decided to escalate things by 100. And said at least my sister isn't dead. Her sister had died of cancer quite some time prior to this exchange. After saying this, she put her face in her hands and looked down. Presumably crying. Everyone had told me this was really ducked up thing to say. And then my teachers, both of them, pulled me out of lunch and brought me into the classroom alone to have a talk. They told me that what I had said isn't funny or clever, and that it was hurtful. They also said that they will be telling my parents, and that I will be given a bad grade on my conduct sheet. Almost a decade later, and she hasn't forgiven me. I don't blame her. I haven't forgiven myself. And I have told her sorry. But obviously sorry isn't gonna help. This incident left my reputation at school tarnished until high school. And the majority of girls didn't talk to me. And up until middle school I had no friends. Yeah, it really ducked me up. And I'm still sorry for what I had said. I cut myself when I was about 12, 14. I still have the scars on my upper thighs. And it's obvious what they're from. I got some tattoos in an attempt to cover them. But there's still a few that are just too big and too noticeable for that to really work. Really wish I hadn't done it, because there's just no getting rid of the scars and they make me very self-conscious. There are some things I just can't wear because of them and it sucks. I've got them too. But I don't regret them. I don't celebrate them either. But I have no regrets. I was a child then. And I did what I had to do when I was neglected by family and had to grow up on my own. I didn't have the tools or the experience to cope without self-harm. So in order to comprehend emotional pain, I made it physical. Because even little kids comprehend physical pain. Anybody asks, I say yeah. And I shrug. I'm not ashamed of a confused, angry child in pain. Anybody tries to pry or give me shit, I don't want that kind of person in my life anyway. It's a good litmus test. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.